All right, welcome everyone. This is the Viper Professional Trading Room at Viper Trading Systems. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this trading room, other trading rooms we might have, our webinars or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. You should be able to see some charts on your screen. Anybody draw a line on oil if you weren't in it from earlier? Grabbed it right at that line at all? Exactly the way we teach it. All right, we're going to see if things are going to be a little slower today or what's going to happen. And by the way, just to let everybody know, and I hope you already knew this, if you're funded on Top Step Trader, you cannot trade today. Okay. Now, I didn't look into the one-up, but they kind of follow the same rules as Top Step, especially on their funded account. So if somebody's looked into that, let me know on that. But you can trade your live account, obviously, because it's your own money. So we've got little boxes drawing here in just about 1 minute. And like I said, you should or could already be long on oil right off that predictor. Okay, and your target, if we can get up there, that is right up here at this predictor right here at 31. And then if we can break that, we've got to swing way up here at 5441, pardon me. Okay. And let's see, gold now. Gold has actually been heading down quite a bit. You do have a swing right across here that if they test this and they reject it, you could box it in for a short. But also be careful just in case it decides to break this, because we could get a thrust to pull back and actually get in it long. But you're looking for a short if it rejects or gets a lower high than this one here. Okay, let's see what we get this morning. You'll notice that ES hasn't moved an awful lot, from 666, funny number, to about 657, about, little 36 tick range basically is what it's in. Okay, and the regular market for oil opens in 1 minute. Now we've got our box already, but you should be careful of chasing this box because you should be in down here. Where to buy oil now, Roy? Well, the opportunity's already gone for right now. But it is the open of the market, so this could be like a little double top. Let's see what it does here. If you want to, you could buy it if it closes inside this box to the upside. But be very careful because they're barely, making fresh highs. And they did come down to this predictor. So they're trying to check. I've already checked here. They haven't checked here just yet. But it looks to me like they want to take it up. So if you do take it, if this bar closes up, just don't let it go back below the bottom of the box. Let's see, can you give a quick and dirty description explanation on how the predictor is used, Ed? Well, Ed, actually, basically, predictor looks at these minor swings. It looks at several other things, though. It actually looks at price action And when price action dictates it, it'll draw the predictor ahead of time, let you know, see right now our predictors are heading up. The magenta predictor actually means that you were in a short side of it. So you're actually shorting the white predictors and buying down here at the magenta predictor. And the same thing on this side, except the opposite. You're buying the green predictor and you're selling it at the blue predictor, or keep your stop at least like under the little micro swings as soon as they materialize. Now, right now, we don't have a micro swing right here where my cursor's at until this bar closes up above this swing here. That's if it does. I'm definitely going to try our patience here, I think. Now, like I say, if you're in from predictor down here, you're okay to begin with because you're just in your runner now. Or you could have scalped the whole thing and you'd be flat even if you wanted to be. So they're used for entries, not targets. Well, both actually. You can utilize predictors for targets too, especially when it's sideways. They're really good for sideways action because you can pretty much tell, in a sideways action where you get in the low and sell at the high or vice versa. See if we can take this little pup on up. So you didn't get taken out of that trade, Roy. Did you see that? Didn't close below your little box there. What causes a predictor to pop up? Lewis is asking. Well, it's basically in the algorithm, and I don't even know all the algorithm. That's actually our programmer. I told him what we were looking for, and that's what he built. But basically it is based on all this price action. The sloppier it is, the more predictors you'll see. Now, if you do take this gold out of this box, just be careful with it. Don't let it go back above this swing right here. Well, you're going to definitely try our patient. They're going to try to check. Well, there's two areas that they could check. They haven't checked yet. That one they did check. See it right here? Bounced off of it. So they should just check this one if they even check that low. Otherwise, we're going to just pop up and head on up, but they look like they want to check it. What you going to do, Crude? Keep on trucking for us and quit playing around. Now, what we'll probably do at the open of the market, the regular open at 8:30 Central Time, is more than likely I'll go ahead and just show the ES chart and the oil chart this morning because we went ahead and let Charles off for the day. So basically I'll be in here by myself this morning. So rather than trying to, call on 4 charts, I think I'll just change the size of the oil and the ES, and we'll watch those charts mightily. I think that'd be better. Yeah, he wanted to close basically because of the holiday, and I thought, I'd just soon be here. Okay, just like I said, they're more than likely going to check that 17. See if it bounces there. That's one thing about it. If you learn to look to the left to trade the right, they check every single one of those little swings before they take off. Now, we don't really want them to take out that support. See how they kiss this support right here? That was what we wanted them to do. So now they've checked. Let's look and see where they've checked. They checked here. That's a little micro swing right there. Definitely not worried about it. They checked here. And of course, then they checked here. And we'll see if this thing will head up. If not, hopefully it's not through. But like I said, you should be in down here, or even down here as far as that goes, when it had actually done this pretty much heading up and you got this mid-band type trade like we teach. But for sure, this one. I've got also a trend line drawn up here just in case they get to it. Well, it's going to definitely play around for a while first. There's your little box now. Now, see how they wick this on gold now? So what you could do, you've got a lower high, and if they close below this box now, you could actually take it, or you could box it in like that. That's a little bit more of a breakout. Well, no, everywhere that it checks, Lewis, on your question, you're actually looking for it to check every single one of these swings. Like, for instance, when this breaks up, like it's trying to do, it's going to check that swing right here. Now, see, it hadn't broken up yet, though. You're kind of getting a lower high. But as soon as it breaks up, if it breaks up, it's going to even check this one as it comes back. Now, like I say, it hadn't broken through yet, so basically they've checked that swing there. They're dawdling, that's for sure. Makes you a little bit more nervous when they go checking it twice, because that's usually when they'll break it. Now, that trend line is also a check for them. See, because you can see under those lows there that I drew that trend line, that's also a good area for them to check. There we go. Come on, crude. You can do it. You can do it. See how it bounces right off my support lines. Now that it's actually wicked that line, you could really put your stop just under that, because, once they wick a swing like that, as a rule, they won't check it again. Now, they certainly can, but, they kind of popped that after they hit it. So what they were trying to do was take people out right there at 17. See how they wicked it by a tick? That's what they do. They do that constantly. All right, let's see if we can get up right into here. Now, predictor says it's going a little higher, like right here at 37. Let's see if it does. There you go. There you go. Got you a nice little trade, huh? Now, it just hit that predictor to the left, but it hadn't hit the one to the right yet. Now, that's a high for the session. Notice that blue midband right there? That blue midband tells you that it's a session high, which means it's the high for the day session so far. Everybody get you a little piece of this. Called it out. All right, watch it now. Needs to take out that 37 at that predictor, and then if it could head up to that 41, we'd be happy campers. Don't be through, crude. Nice move, Ed says 9 ticks. Yeah, and the thing is, with a couple of contracts or 3 contracts, like, 9 ticks is $270. And if you got in right at that predictor, you're even higher than that. All righty. Keep on trucking, crude. Keep on trucking, buddy. Let's see where crude oil's heading here real quick. I don't have any more data than that. So let's say 1, 2, 3. That's not a 3. So that's a 1, 2, 3. So let's see. I'm not promising you we'll get here, but let's draw it anyway. Maybe this week. Got to get through that trend line and everything first, and got to take out that top. Sure slowed down. It's like it stopped. Careful when they slow down like that. Let's see if we can blow through this thing. Nope, not yet. You can see to the left kind of where they're checking, right? They're checking this swing right here, I think. Let's look at a line. They've already checked 17. There's another one right there at 22. They haven't checked, and a little bit more prominent swing is right here. That's what they're trying to check. Oh, you can definitely get some good scalps with this software. Yes, sir. We like the runners, though. See, it checked that swing just like I said it would. Now, if it pops up again, it should check this one. Just got to keep your stops in. It might be tough to get some runners today. We'll see. You'd be surprised sometimes, with this software. if you can really tell, where they're coming back to and everything, you should be able to get some decent little runs. Because for all intents and purposes, the trade started here before I opened the room. So you got a nice scalp already, and just writing a runner. Pretty choppy, but isn't it unreal how good of trades we get in this room? That's because we know what they're doing. We know where they're checking. We know what they're looking for. And I'm going to try to get up to 37 up there at that predictor. And you can put your stop at close underline 6 on your runner. But the only way to get a gusto run is to let the thing run. Well, Russell's finally short out of the little box. See the way we draw that? And you could be short a little earlier because it did like gold. See that lower high? I'm not personally in Russell. And I think we'll even skip it today since we'll be watching crude and ES. Regular market opens in 12 minutes. We do have a high energy time at 8:31 Central. So they may just kick out of the gate. We'll see. Just be very careful at the open. I'm going to call some trades on it. And that's why I'm going to cut it down to 2 charts, is because I want to just stick with calling some great trades today. Crude, you got an appointment with 37 at least. Come on. Wake up. Yeah, I'm recording this one, Lewis. Lewis said he just noticed the trading room's being recorded. Yeah, I decided to go ahead and record this. And since today's a holiday, I'm not doing the webinar tonight, but we're going to do a 2-hour webinar this morning in real time. We'll try to get some really good trades, and I'll draw the lines on the charts, and we'll take coin, and we'll see what today turns out to be. Yeah, if you don't want to risk capital today, since it is a pretty sloppy, choppy day, you can go ahead and just, we'll just draw on charts and do some things like more like a webinar, and we'll get some teaching under our belt, the way we trade Viper. Ten more minutes till the regular market opens. Let's go ahead. We got our stop in on crude. Let's diagnose ES just real quick for the open. Okay, the overall trend is up, as everybody can see. You've got a swing way down here on the left side. Now the trend on the left side of the chart, though, or pardon me, the right side of the chart is down. All right, so let's look at very possibly a trend line break. That's kind of sloppy right there. Let's draw it from here. That would be a trend line break to the upside. And let's see what we get at the open. So far, basically, you double topped. So this swing is not identified. This could be your new lower, higher low than down here. See this big thrust right here. So that's more like a double top and then an ABC, like a big Gartley looking ABC. So we could easily head up at the open too. So I'll be looking at this trend line. Crude tried to get up there to that top, couldn't make it. What you going to do, Crudy? You going to wake up finally and give us the rest of our run, or are you going to play? See, gold didn't get you in yet. See how it wicked that box? Now it's starting to get to be a little bit bigger box than I like. Now, if you got in at mid-band, I'd be real careful because, it looks like they want to test that swing. But I didn't call it in yet. Definitely going to be a little more choppy today, even on these equities. You can tell by the way ES hasn't moved an awful lot yet. And if we don't get any movement, we can close the room early. It won't be a biggie. But I bet we get enough movement. We've already gotten a nice trade on crude so far, so that's decent. I mean, it was worth opening the room for sure. Six more minutes till the regular market open. Well, let's see if oil checked another one of our little swings. See, it doubled that swing there, so they kind of tried to check it twice. See if they'll finally kick this thing up. Slow. Not much to talk about just yet. We'll see. Let's see, question. I have two CL charts. I put a line on one, and it's not showing on the other. Very odd. It always works. Any solution? You're talking about the global cursor? I'd have to look at that, John. I'm not sure. How often would you take a check swing with a bar close? Well, those minor swings are more for, just seeing where it's going as it stair steps. The entry was down here at 17 that I actually called that, it held, or at this predictor. So if a person got in, for instance, like right there at the line that I had drawn, you definitely wouldn't want to let them go back below the line. We'll see what we get. Well, oil, are you going to finally close the bar? It's closing time. Close it. Still riding a runner. All right, market opens in 2 minutes. Let's get ready to trade these things. I'm going to go ahead and bring ES over. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to bring it over to the left-hand side and bring it down. And bring oil up. Now, if you're trading the others, just be careful with it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch ES and oil for us this morning since we're one moderator short. Charles is taking the day off. I got you green already, though, so we're good to go. I mean, if you just did that one little trade, 10 ticks, two contracts, you got yourself a couple of $100. And you're still riding a runner. See there how beautiful that is? Don't double top on us, crude. All right, market opens in 1 minute. Makes me a little more nervous on oil if it doesn't pop this bar. See how now predictor is saying all the way up here, though? See, it's analyzing that price action. Now, does it mean it's going to get there? No. But with the price action that it's doing, that's where it's predicting that it will go. Okay, just now open, so be careful. Come on, crude. You are short below your little trend line. Don't let it go back above it just in case it bounces off of this trend line. And if they can break right down here, see there how beautiful that can be? See a double trend line like that? And be very careful in case we get a higher low on this ES. You just go ahead and pop it on down to that line if it's going to. But did anybody take that touch of wedge? You'd have you a decent little trade already. I drew it ahead of time for us. And you could already be banking some coin on it as far as that goes. Now watch it at the open. Just right at the open. See, that's a higher low so far. High, low, higher, high. Same high over here. So now it's lower than here, but let's see if it'll take it on down. Don't let it go back. Let's see here. I wouldn't personally let it close back above right this area right here where it pretty much had a little resistance there. Anybody get that quick little scalp? Oil checked right where I said it would, 28. Let's see if it'll take it on up again. Come on, ES. Take it on down, buddy. There you go. All right. No higher low. Take out this line for us, please. No higher low. Watch it. Don't let it go back above this line right here that I've drawn. Oil needs to stay bouncing for us. Anybody grab that ES? Be sure and take some coin right there at that line. Okay, if you're in multiples. Now we're going to try to get down to this line right here at 57.25. And let's see where ES is heading here real quick. Thrust, retrace, thrust. We should be able to get, let's do it from here. That's a high. Thrust, retrace, thrust. But it's got to take out this low first because remember, this is still an uptrend on the left side of the chart, short trend on the right side of the chart. Bank a little coin. Called it out. Beautiful, huh? See if we can keep on trucking. We've got these great tools, by the way, if anybody's here that's on trial. We didn't have an invite this week at all, so there's probably not as many, but a lot of people do take trials during the week and everything. So we have tools that'll take that trade. You could take that one there and even take that one right there. Bank some coin there at the low, and we'll try to get down to that bottom there. Why is there variation in the size of the predictor ellipse? I'd have to actually talk to the programmer on that. Beautiful, beautiful. ES, you baby girl, let's go. Everybody see a beautiful trade there? drew it on the charts ahead of time. You know, why in the world a company like TopStep would not let people that have our software trade? Because, you know, you could easily be nicely green on this trade that I just did. And, you know, even if you've added since then, you know, you be sure and take some coin off the table and ride your runner. Isn't that beautiful? Oil's still in play too. I'd probably put my stop just a couple of ticks underneath this swing right here on crude. You could use line 6. See how line 6 is holding? We don't need no boxes. We need trend lines. Love those trend lines. Keep on trucking, ES. Keep on trucking. There you go. There you go. Beautimus, beautimus, beautimus. Look at that oil go. You little sweetheart. Come on. Now watch for any kind of pullbacks, you know, because we're barely taking out this low over here on the left on ES. We want to stay below resistance. Resistance on this chart is right here where this line is, and it's also right here where this line is. Now this is, you know, even though this is a pretty good size swing, when you look to the left to trade the right, it doesn't mean this will hold. It could even go like up here. See where this little swing was? If you draw lightning, I'll draw lightning, so you'll be able to see it. I don't like that red. There we go. That's good enough. See the swing right there? Just ride a runner. See how easy it is to diagnose a couple of charts? You know, there you go. Your oil's heading just like I said it would, 37. Got to take some coin there. I called it out ahead of time, 37. Your runner's still in. If you're using line 6, you just got stopped out if that bar closes down. If it wicks that little line there, see, it should bounce right there. See where my two lines are? Be careful with oil, though. That's fairly deep. It's not to mid-band yet, though. So if you want to, but like I said, this should bounce off this predictor. Just be very, very careful with it if it does not. See how I drew those lines ahead of time? We knew where it was coming back to check. That's why you got to take that coin. Now this is the trend line that I drew on crude oil. If oil, of course, you can see it stopped you out, but now here's a low right here at 17. If you get a higher low than that, they could easily take out these tops. Okay. But if they take out 17, pretty much all bets are off. We'll see what they do. Stay with us, ES. Very tight trend line, but If it works, it works. That's the way to do that. Watch ES, we're barely taking out those lows. Come on, ES, roll it over, buddy. Nice drop right out of the gate, but it's not doing anything now. But if you got in on that top trend line, you can't get hurt on this trade at all. You know, see, one thing about a runner, if you think about it, all a runner can cost you, if you go back to cost even on it, is going to be a broker fee. You know, but then you can let it run. But the thing about, you know, getting in and out, you're always getting lower or lower prices on shorts and higher prices on longs. You know, and you're taking a lot more chance as they run. You know, the best way to do a lot of times is just stick with the trade and see where it goes. Everybody gets you a little bit of it. If you think about it, just the two. Well, there was actually even a third trade called on oil, but let's just say two trades alone. Let's say you made $200 only on oil, and you've made $200 or $300 on ES so far. Is that enough to call it a day? We're not going to, but you know, would that be enough to go ahead and trade on? Literally no heat trades. Anytime they barely take out those lows, you got to be really, really careful of them. Because what happens if they don't go ahead and, you know, kiss an area of resistance and roll pretty soon, this is nothing but a big channel then, and all they did is barely take out the low. We need to head on down, ES. Because remember, ES is still on this left side of the chart, still an uptrend. Close back above resistance and change the power meter to green, so you could be flat on that if you want to be. It's up to you. You can still ride a runner too. Still riding a runner. I don't like that though. That needs to get back below that 57 and a quarter. We did have a feeling it was going to be a little slower today, didn't we? Yeah, if ES is really going to head down, it would need to respect that 58.75. If you're still in it, that is. Because that could just be a double bottom with a big wick. See if it'll hit its head right there at my line or under it. Well, still a good call off of 23. You got 6 ticks is all so far, though. 6 ticks is nothing to write home about yet. This would give a little bit of a, like a roll to fake us even, we could draw a trend line. By the way, the ultimate target on crude oil is up here at this 41, if we can finally get there. Looks like it's gonna. Anybody take that trade off of 23 that I called there? You just got to draw on your charts. See that predictor right there? Come on, Crudy, take it out, buddy. ES stop is just above that identified swing there to the left if you're carrying a runner at all. That's at 58.75. Close of the bar. Anybody watching Russell? Is Russell heading up yet? Because ES could start following suit very possibly. Let me check a Russell chart here real quick. That's one reason that we do like having Russell. No, Russell's actually still doing its thing to the downside too so far. Now, if they break micro, they'll usually go up and check these medium swings. And remember that ES has not checked where it broke down. I'll draw the line right across there. We'll go ahead and get rid of these trend lines. We don't need them anymore. We've already used them. Back at 37 almost on crude. Anybody grab that again? It's a little more boring with 2 charts instead of 4. Did you get that one, Glenn? Yeah, like I said, ES, I don't like that double bottom because that is pretty much a double bottom when they barely take those out by 5 ticks. It would need to roll. Oil, you're going to make fresh highs. Keep on trucking, buddy. Well, Russell's rolling over. So I'd like ES to go ahead and do the same thing. ES is trying. Here you go, just hit 37 again. They pull back. Got to have that target sitting there, basically fading it just a couple of ticks so you get your target. See if it goes on up. You know, for kind of being like watching paint drying, though, we've gotten some decent trades already. You know, I'm not up like normal, but I didn't expect it either. And I didn't get up early this morning. I usually do. Okay, see, oil's checking that swing to the left. Come on, ES, keep rolling over, buddy. Make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Let's see. Evo asks, when the low swing appears, the predictor is down on the opposite side extended. No, not necessarily on what you're asking, Evo. Basically, it really just looks at this price action. You know, it knows by looking at the price action, you know, where it should go next. Now, I don't just trade them religiously, but I watch swings to the left, you know, to see if they're good areas. And see, I drew on that chart on that oil, and those were good areas. Watch in case that's a lower high on crude. We need to keep on trucking. I don't like this trend line just yet, simply because it hasn't rolled over enough to really identify it yet. But I'm going to draw a trend line just in case on ES. Not saying to take a long there. Crude hasn't even done a yellow bar probe yet, or a mid-band trade even. If you use power meter, you stopped out on even your runner on ES. If you're using more, you know, like mid-band or even line 3, you're still in it. And if you're using your cost on your runner, you're just willing to give up to cost. Let's see. MG, we don't actually have a discount for Top Step. We do for One Up Trader. And One Up Trader just has you go through the evaluation one time. And without breaking any rules, you can get funded. Matter of fact, I showed in several webinars where a $50,000 account, pretty easy to do that. Well, my lines, of course, basically, well, they can end up being a lightning 3 because they're pretty accurate to begin with, but they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily lightning 3. How decent are One Up and Top Step? Well, Evo, in your question, I think they're both good companies. One Up Trader hasn't been around as long as Top Step, but I can tell you this, that they do what they say they're going to do. I've gone through their deal and got funded and even showed my very first check even with them. And they paid like clockwork. I requested a wire transfer that day and I got it. They say it takes 2 or 3 days, but it came that afternoon to my bank. And since then, they're just like clockwork. You just got to request it. Yeah, be sure and don't be trading Top Step today if you're funded, because you lose your account if you do. They sent out emails. I don't know why, because the trade calls that I made today on oil and ES, if you just traded those two, you're up $500 and you never had and you're more than that if you took more than the one trade that I called, the very first trade. I think they're just leery of choppy days because some people don't know how to trade as well as we do in this room. Now, if oil's going to actually bounce at all, see, you hit your 37 up there, called that out, you'd be stopped on that. When they break micro, they'll go down and check these a little bit larger swings. I don't like the fact that predictor pointed down instead of, another high one. But if they don't take out 64.16 right here, you can pretty much count on still, a continuation uptrend. We'll see. So they just checked supports, all they did. Russell's not rolling over as much. Russell, by the way, if you're trading Russell, so they've basically checked that swing within a tick. Right there, see where they kind of thrust down and checked it. They haven't really checked, of course, this swing just yet. This is a little sweet spot that I would be looking for if I was trading Russell this morning for a rollover. And they haven't had a phantom yet either. And see, they've checked that. Really haven't checked that either. I would be looking for a phantom on Russell too. I don't know if you'll get it because it is trying to roll over. If you drew a trend line on Russell just like we did on ES, you got you a pretty nice little trade right at the open. You stopped on ES completely. If you happen to reverse that on that trend line, and that's up to the individual if they did that at all. Remember, I did mention that this was more of an uptrend than a downtrend. If you want to wait till they kind of pop up, pull back and kiss, you can always do that too. Which one do I prefer, Evo? Well, we push one up quite a bit because we give a 25% discount on it. And a 25% discount is pretty huge because, you know, a $50,000 account only runs $150 at their normal price, but then you get 25% off of that, so it's $112.50. And if you can ace it in the first month, that's all you'd ever pay is that $112.50 being a Viper member. And then you get you a funded account and you get that money back, you know, the moment you get your first check. See what ES is going to do. They definitely stopped us out. If you drew this trend line, they stopped you out too, by the way. Remember I mentioned depends on where you put your stop. Mine was right there, and it took it out. So I am flat, and I drew the line and everything. You could be back in oil if you want to be. I'd just be real careful with it because it's definitely not doing anything either as far as that goes. May not get too much movement today. Oh, if you want to do, now, if you do the $250,000 account, keep in mind that, you know, you can make as much money trading a $50,000 or $100,000 account as you can a $250,000. The $250,000 account with one up is pretty professionally set up because you notice that it doesn't even have much lower drawdowns than the $150,000 account. That's because they expect if somebody's going to jump into something like that, that they really, really know what they're doing. Will we get any movement today? Maybe not. If we don't get some movement by about 9:30, we'll probably go ahead and wrap, but you've already gotten you nice and green, so, you know, it's not a $5,000 day, but it's not a loser either, because I set up both those trades for you and called them out, and several others on oil if you wanted them. Well, what does everybody think so far? Even with as slow as it was, we still got nicely green. And that's the whole idea of trading is you just simply, you know, look for the best opportunities to get into a trade. You draw your lines on your charts and you take the trade. You know, your runner, if it gets stopped out, it gets stopped out. Don't ever let it, you know, be one of those that takes all your coin back, you know, by giving it such a loose stop, you know, draw trend lines and things like that, or use the swings. And the swing on ES was right up there at that. I'll draw the line. You can pretty much see it. If it was going to head down, that is. See, it was this swing because you had a low, you had a high, had a lower low, lower high, but it didn't get a lower low here. So this was your actually identified swing. So if you put your stop there, you got stopped out and you're waiting to see what this thing's going to actually do. Is it going to roll over? Or is it going to head up? And crude oil, it'll more than likely finally get to where it needs to be. Sometimes, when it's slow, they just take a while to get there. Anybody take a long on a trend line break on ES? I didn't, but I did call that short, so we were good on that. All righty. Well, we'll see if we get anything else. We may be done for the day. We'll find out. How's OT on NT8 going, Glenn? Well, the basic thing that we're running into with NT8 is they did a lot of changing on when you use chart trader type panels. And see, Object Trader has a chart trader type panel on it. And with the new Ninja 8, we want it to be able to, like if somebody uses a tablet, to give an example, we want the little screen on the right-hand side to actually, size itself according to that. And, by doing that, wow, oil's taken off again above 23, if anybody got that. At 25 that time. I drew the line for a reason there, everyone. Nice oil. See if you can get up to 41. Your guy's disgusted with them on 8. Yeah, even our guy's not too tickled pink with it. And he's a phenomenal programmer. The guy actually, codes for the U.S. military. So, he's a coder extraordinaire. Look at this oil go. Anybody grab that again where I was telling you down there? Told you it was going to make fresh highs for the day. And it did. Bank some coin. Oh, did you do it on trendline break, Lewis? That's good. Use old Object Trader. Lewis took this trade right here. Right on that bar. Good deal. Glenn did too. Several people did. Good deal. The beauty of trading our system is it's huge. I mean, if you think about it, even on a choppy, sloppy day, you should be up, at least $500, $600, $700, $800, and we're talking about literally in an hour. So that's not too shabby way to trade. Bet that might be all she wrote for now, though. We'll see. Stopped out. Everybody can see the trend line. I didn't short it or anything because I don't short against trends, but see how that was straight up? You just draw your trend line underneath those lows. Like so. High, low, higher high, hopefully higher low, right? See if it can head on up. Now, if oil's going to head up, it would need to be off the same line that was resistance. See, it should be support now. Be very, very careful. You may want to box this one in. Don't let it go back below mid-band or 23 for sure. Do you have a webinar recorded on trendline trading, Roy? As a matter of fact, I do. I think it was 2 weeks ago that I did the trend line. We talked about using Object Trader True Trend and using trend lines on a chart. Trend lines work. I mean, there's no question about it. They work. How would you use Object Trader on that CL trade, Polly? You just draw your trend line with your wedge trader, and I would put it for like touch plus 2, and you would have gotten, like for instance, if you had done this one that Lewis did just a minute ago, this one right through here, you would have been filled on like that bar right there. That was only one tick there and didn't do a third one, so that would be the one that would grab it right here. Quick trade. Here's another one setting up right here. It's technically, see, it wicked it on this side. That's the trend line right there. You can always, if they wick it, you can redraw your trend line like so. But keep in mind, the more flattened out you get it, the more of a breakout trade it'll be. That oil has done a marvelous job so far today, hasn't it? I'll show you where that webinar is here in just a few minutes too. Has this been a good lesson for people drawing on your charts? It works, doesn't it? Let's see, is gold a qualified phantom since it wicked into line? Let me look. Bear with me a second. I'll get gold up. Yeah, as slow as this has been. Actually, gold is more of a long trade. See where it popped up? See where my line is? That was actually a good long trade right out of my box, and then came right back down and kissed on top of the box. So, was it a good phantom trade at first? Yes, because you hit line 7 and it came back down right to where I drew my line. But oil or gold, let's see here what gold's doing. Gold's been on a tear to the downside, hasn't it? What I would expect gold to do would be to check. See, it basically already checked this swing here. It hasn't checked this one here at 1281.20. And if it does kind of come up, you'll want to be sure and protect some coin if it hits that trend line, because it could roll over. But that's a typical trade we teach actually for a thrust up and a pullback for a long. And, if you get to where you use this stealth, when this double bottomed and everything, you can draw these in and take them. It's a little bit more difficult because your background's red and everything, but that's why I taught that webinar that night about using True Trend. because you want to see what that would look like with true trend. You just, let me put it on that template. Did I do true trend? Yeah, there it is. If you have that happen to you right there, by the way, this is real easy to fix. Just go to your indicator. See where it says it's in panel 2. You got to go to same as input series and save it as default. See, or you could draw this as like more of a major trend right here, and this is more of a minor trend right here. You can use the minor. Anyway, I went over a lot of that in that webinar that night, if anybody wants to watch that. Got a feeling most of the people have left, actually. You know, we got that first 30, 40 minutes of the day, and it did pretty good. I'll go ahead and stick around till 10, though, if y'all want to, or we can wrap it, you know, at 9:30. It's up to y'all. Yeah, there you go. Steve said he liked where I had the webinar where has the market checked it yet. See, that's the thing. If the market hasn't checked it yet, you can almost count on it checking it. You know, because that's exactly what they do, you know, and the more bars you have and the more sideways it is, the more checking they're going to do. You know, when you get a nice thrust up and you get a trend going, you know, you can see check areas a lot easier, but when they're a little bit more sideways, you got to just draw lines on your chart. You'll see them. Let's draw on oil to give an example. Let's see where it's checked so far. I'll get rid of all the lines and we'll just start from scratch. All right, notice you had a support area right here. This is a higher low so far, so like they want to take it up, but this needs to hold. But looking to the left to trade the right, let's go to the very left first, and we'll see where they have checked. See, that was checked over here. See, now this is going to be more than likely a phantom. Let's see if we get a little phantom trade. Anytime they break support like that, this hasn't had a phantom just yet. And this is your line 1 phantom setting up. See there? Wasn't able to grab that one, but I drew it for everyone else. Now, will it continue? It's hard to say, but so far it is a phantom. See there? Phantom trade. If you took that, you know, down here, like when the bar first closed, you got yourself a little scalp. I wasn't able to do it. I was trying to draw it for everybody else. But if you did it, you got you a little scalp. Yellow bar probe, phantom trade. And a lot of times a phantom like this will go ahead and, if it doesn't take out those lows, that is, we'll go ahead and shoot up again, and let's see where it's going. Thrust, retrace. We've already drawn it, hadn't we? Except we got rid of the line. Thrust, retrace, thrust. That's not leg 1, leg 2, leg 3 there. So this is leg 1, leg 2. Not saying it'll get here today, but actually it'd be off this one, wouldn't it? Did you get in, Hardy? Good deal. I was trying to draw it for everybody else so they could. See, that's the thing about it, if you're drawing and everything else rather than just seeing it, you didn't get the trade, which is fine with me because, our whole goal is teaching people to see what we see and to be able to get some good trades. Because if you got that trade just then, you got yourself 10 ticks. And with 2 contracts, that's a $200 bill. And it doesn't get any better than that as far as just making money, just waiting for the trade to come to you. A live phantom call. By the way, if anybody has questions while we're in this room, this is a little different format today because obviously, it's a little slower and it is a holiday. But I think it's been proved that we do know what we're talking about when we draw on these charts. What's that phantom? That needs a higher low. See there? Bounced right off that previous light. And yeah, I did. I see it to the left. Do you enter the phantom on the low reversal bar? Yeah, what you do, Donald, on your question, a true phantom, you're going to want to go below line 2 and close below line 2. That's your best phantom. Bouncing off of line 2 will usually fake you. I mean, you can take those too, you just don't let them go against you. But like that phantom there, that was a perfect classic phantom trade. That's a higher low, by the way, so far, if they don't go ahead and take out that swing. And if they just do the little micro move, they should do this. See, even if you look at the micro side, you can kind of tell what they're doing. That is if they don't take out line 2 with a close. Because it could also be a trend change. You don't know yet. But so far it bounced right off of a phantom with a blue midband. Just a deep retracement. Polly, I don't think anybody has that. I forgot to put it up on the site. The trend line one. Let me go ahead and pull that up again. I can put it on the site real easily this morning. Basically, let me resave that template, true trend, because that way it'll have the backgrounds the way they need to be, where it's not in a separate panel. So you're technically breaking this trend line right here. So I'd make those bars red. You could also redraw your major if you wanted to. Just kind of go with those bars since it bounced off of it. And then if it was to break this trend line, it would actually change that background to red. See how that line 2 held, like I said. Now watch it hit this line that I just drew, because that's 100% move. ABC type of a move. Now if it breaks this line right here that I've drawn, it should go up a little higher to right there at 30. Started to grab that at line 2. I was calling it out as it was happening too. I said that if it didn't break line 2, that you'd be getting a higher low. Yeah, we'll stick around till 10. It's no big deal. No biggie. See what this is showing you in real time with a little bit more laid back, especially as slow as it is, of how to see on these charts exactly where the trade should be heading to. Because I've called several trades and they've nailed those targets. All you've got to do is be willing to take some coin off the table when they do. Did I get 30 because of L3 to the left? No, Steve. Well, yes, that's the L3 to the left, but I also called it out too. Remember, if you look at this thrust, retrace thrust, see, this is actually a leg one, a leg two, and that's your leg three. See how it hit it exactly? The reason they do that is because it's literally built into their algorithms. So then if this is going to pull back at all, then you got to look to the left to trade the right, and you got to swing right under here. That should hold if it comes down. Or this could go ahead and head on up. And, but the beauty of trading like this, though, if you think about this, what if you were good enough to see this happen and you took, say like 3 contracts, you got $300. It came down exactly where I said it would and it bounced and you got, let's say that you added right back to your runner and got another 300. That's a $600 area of trading right there. And you know right where it's going by drawing on your chart. And you could take your coin off the table, except for one contract. Where's oil heading now? Well, if it breaks up, you do have a little swing area right across here at this predictor. And of course, this could easily make fresh highs for the day. See that 100% move's holding so far. Yeah, I wouldn't let crude close below that lightning 3 to the left there. Not that lower one, but the ones to the left with the yellow bars. Do the dots in the center of the predictors mean anything, Glenn? Well, actually, the way we designed the predictor to begin with, because of, it's not necessarily an exact, unless you draw your lines on your charts, and that's an exact area that you see is support or resistance. But I like to draw the lines right across the top of it. They don't normally go into the middle of the predictor. See, this one came close right here, but it didn't really. So no, that's just more the middle of the predictor. Now, did anybody get not green on anything today? Because, these trades were called in real time and a person could be nicely green on them. Not a major day, but not a bad day. Now, where's oil going now if it breaks this? Well, see, here's a thrust, retrace, thrust, like a big ABC. So now what I normally do is draw it like this instead. And just another little area that it should hit. See if it does. You can clearly see that I would have taken that trade with my account because I was drawing it for y'all, that it would be a no-brainer trade. Some people are scared of phantoms, but I don't know why. I like them. But it's like any trade. You've got to watch it because, you don't know if they're going to take it down further. But these phantoms work out pretty doggone well. See there? Just hit another target. If you got in that phantom trade that I called, put your stop just below mid-band now. That wicked candle to the left, see it? Shouldn't take it out if they're going to head up. Now keep in mind, if you look at oil, see oil has not checked this little swing right across here that it made. This little swing right here. So they just missed it by a tick or so. So they may check that. We'll see. You put it just a couple of ticks underneath that wicked candle there. Does it matter that the phantom took out lightning 3 to the left? I don't trust them as much when they do, but keep in mind on a sloppy, choppy morning like this lightning, see, this established this 40 to about 51, so that's definitely an established lightning 3, right? Okay, but if you look to the left to trade the right, you do have a swing here, which they also took out, and then you got a swing down here, which they didn't take out. But see, at the time, even over here on the left side of the chart, they had not checked this area. Remember, they did this twice. So a lot of times when they do it twice like that, they will check it twice, and that's what they did. I like it when they check it right away rather than clear over here. But if you draw your lines on your charts where they haven't checked yet, you'll see where they should bounce. Now, if you're going to stay in oil too, I would probably draw this trend line here. At least I wouldn't let it go underneath that for sure. That's a little, I don't like that angle of trend line. It's a little bit too wide. But see how they just wicked that? Like I said, they would. Now, will they take it out? They might. But so far, they're just wicking it. We'll see if they'll pop up back above mid-band. Stopped you out on that finally. Now watch it bounce off this predictor. If it's going to bounce off a trend line, it should bounce right where it's at. See how they check trend lines? Now, does that mean this isn't going to break down now? No, because you're actually getting now, you're starting to get a high, a low, a lower high, but you still haven't gotten lower lows yet. You're still stair-stepping to the upside so far. If you happen to have turned the wedge on, even trading the sim as far as that goes, you could see that with a touch plus, you would be in this trade, and you just don't let it go back against you. Definitely turned into a little bit more of a boring morning, but at least it was a teaching moment. The way we trade. I'm not saying I could be a totally absolute 100% professional trader with somebody else's software, because what I do is I see these trades. But if you threw me on like a 10-minute chart or something like that, I go, oh gosh. But I think our method is pretty good. Hey, you're welcome, Steve. Well, ES checked exactly where I said it would, didn't it? If you had sniper turned on, you'd be short, by the way. I did say it would check that. Now, oil stopped you out because it took out the trend line. But keep in mind, if you use the swings more, see thrust, retrace, thrust, they have not taken out that swing just yet. If you get a higher low, they could easily take it back up. But it's just sloppy, choppy sideways. If you grab these trades like this, you take some coin. Let's see, your biggest challenge, Mindy says, is still determine it's a mid-band trader if it's going to go lower. So I take mid-bands and I get stopped out because it goes lower. Well, Mindy, on your question, what I would do then is start, really looking at like these trend lines to give an example. Like earlier, for instance, with oil, when it hit this phantom even, let's say that a person would have been watching this and if you get your box too tight, you can get, but let's say that a person put their little box like right above here because that was resistance and it never got you in, see, but a lot of times they will get you in like that. That's what you're talking about, is where they'll just get you in. Well, what you really want to do also is you want to at least get a thrust and a retrace of some kind, so that you get like an ABC. This was more of a Gartley and it came down to the phantom area instead. And we kind of expected that because it pretty much, it thrust up here and when it pulled back and took this out. But it wasn't time for a short. It was just time for looking for a deeper probe. But I know your frustration there because, you can look at charts all day long and you'll see areas that a midband did not work out. Where midbands work out better is when you're really stair-stepping. So you're pretty sideways. What's a Gartley, Steve? A Gartley's more of a, instead of an ABC will usually do something like this. You'll get the A, you'll get the B. This is a short one, by the way. And then you'll get a C that'll just barely take out the low, like so, like a tick, and then they'll head back up. That's an ABC type. But a Gartley would be more like this. And you're actually doing more of an ABC Gartley. And that's basically kind of what this did here. See, because you had a thrust, retrace, thrust. And so that was more of a Gartley type. And even a trend line as far as that goes. I did call that trade right there, by the way. See, if you take this trade with a trend line break, see how it comes back down and tests, and I even said it would test line 2. That's a little bit risky trade. Now, that one that Lewis and some of them took a few minutes ago, this is a classic trade right here. When it holds support and it pops up through here, like so, that was a good trade. That's another phantom, by the way, with a higher low. See how it just barely checked that swing? I wouldn't personally take it because it's getting long in the tooth. But if you do take it, you'd probably want to take a trend line break. Something like that, and you'd have to put your stop just underneath the swing. Man, I'll tell you what, ES has done nothing today except for that one move we got. That was it. What kind of stop would I use on a mid-band trade, Roy? I personally like a trade to go my direction pretty darn quick, or I'm going to get out, because I don't like a trade that will stop you out like for a full 10 or 12 or something like that, because if you use any kind of multiple contracts at all, they're going to get you pretty hard. So I don't like that. Oil may go up later, but then again, it may just head down. We'll see. Pretty choppy sideways. But every trade so far I called on oil, even with this choppy, sloppy sideways, has worked. If you're willing to just scalp it, and that's what people do. So we could go away from today saying, wow, this was fairly on the sideways, but still some good trades. If you think about it, if you did 3 trades a morning and got so good at it that you could nail the trade for 10 ticks with 2 contracts even, let's just say 2 contracts even, and did 3 trades a day, that's what, $600 a day? And you'd be times 5 if you could do that on a daily basis. And that would be $3,000 a week times 52 weeks is not too shabby. There's a lot of people that would love to make $156,000 a year. And there's some people that go, wow, I need to make more than that just to cover my car payment. My Maserati. I don't have one of those, by the way. 4 for 4 on CL this morning, Hardy says. Yeah. And Hardy didn't necessarily take my calls as much as he just knows where to trade it, because the repetition over and over and over has, he sees the trades exactly the way I do. And lots of our people do. Four for 4 is very good. That's 100% on your trades. Yeah, and like I said, keep in mind, you couldn't even trade like Top Step today. And yet we proved that technically, if you could have traded your Top Step, you could have made money. Hardy says, sign me up for $156K for working a few hours a day. I know it. I mean, it's a utopian dream to be able to see trades on charts and just go ahead and take them. Well, does anybody think this was good enough recorded to go ahead and put on the site for a little training? Or was it a little bit more boring? That it's good enough? Okay, we'll put it up then. I mean, if you just got that ES with like 3 contracts earlier, that thing was, $600 or more. Drawing on your charts will definitely pay off. We've got about 15 more minutes. Anybody has any questions, just throw them my way and I'll be happy to answer them. Does anybody see now, though, why, if I was just to throw up a dome and go, I'm taking this trade here, would that teach anybody anything? For crying out loud, just, sign up for the Socialist Party if you want that. Because the whole idea is, teaching people how to see the trades in real time. Because I'd guarantee you that there'd still be naysayers out there that go, even if we literally pulled up a dome and showed the actual trades, that doesn't teach anything. But they'd still gripe and moan about it. It'd be more like, Well, that could be, they're not, who knows, just whatever the doctor says out there, some of these idiots. But anyway, what I'm getting at though is we teach people to see this. Got people that have been with us since day one, literally, that have grown up with us and seen these trades in real time. And then you get through with the day and you go, oh my gosh, even on a sloppy, crummy day, still made like, $800 or $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever. And that's the key to it. Seeing the trade in real time. Matter of fact, that's what we'll call the webinar today. It was a trading room, but it was a webinar. How much do you read into the pace of price action, Steve? Well, obviously, the quicker things move around, the better we like it. This is definitely slow. But like I say, still, very, very good for everybody in the room so far today. What are the best trades percentage-wise in a flat market? My trades, Phil, on these lines that I draw, and don't be afraid to take them. Use the tools like Object Trader, the trend line. To give an example, when it broke that trend line, you remember when I drew 2 trend lines on ES? If a person had that set to where it literally just got in the break of that smaller trend line with like 3 contracts and protected some as it plowed through the other one, as you got your first bar up, be up pretty mightily for the morning. And that's even with the rest of this day being nothing but chop. So we'll call this one like live trading room, seeing trades in real time. Got 12 minutes and we'll go ahead and wrap. I'll leave this at a 2-hour video, I guess. RTY doing pretty good for you, Ed? Yeah, maybe we should have done RTY as slow as ES is. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any more movement. Actually, it doesn't look like it anyway. But like I said, I'll still stick around for the next 10 minutes, no problem. Sorry, I leaned against my mute. I was talking and I saw my red light on. Let's see, could you put up RTY to show what it did? Sure. Bear with me a second. I'll get RTY. Where'd you go, RTY? See, here's RTY to give an example. See, I had boxes drawn on my chart all along on RTY. Could a person have been nicely short on that little jewel? It came right out of our box. See, this is our 8 o'clock box, so that was a killer trade. And, you would have probably gotten stopped out when this started stair-stepping back up, but you could have boxed it in again right here. Yeah, that was actually a whole lot better than ES. But ES wasn't too bad when you think about it, because ES actually did this beautiful trade that I called out right across here, Remember, you could actually box it. Boxing it would have been more like this at the open. Well, the open was right in here. So basically your trade was pretty much in here. And even like this, even if you drew a trend line with your box. And then remember, we even drew the trend line for the 8 o'clock or the 8:30 one. I had drawn this ahead of time. And remember, that was a decent little trade. Came right down here where I said it would. Took it out a little bit. And then I even mentioned that when they take out the bottom just barely and they pop it back up, you got to put your stop at a swing or even stop it out if it even happens to go green meter at all. Okay. So definitely not too shabby. Linda will get that. Let me shut that door. She came in here, left my door open. Mario, on your question, well, you could certainly do that. I have showed that in webinars before. I don't remember exactly which webinar it was. Mario was asking, do you ever have two charts for the same instrument and trade both sides, long and short? And you can definitely do that because, for instance, like this trade that was called here on Phantom, could a person have stayed in that with the long until it took mid-band out? Yes. And then shorted it? Yes. Just a second. That wasn't my wife opening the door. That was my dog. Lynn's gone to take care of the little grandkids while Charity and Randy are going to some school event. Almost time for little Lily to go to school. Mercy, I'm getting older. Little Lily will be 5 in March. Mercy. So my dog comes in here wanting attention. Well, I wouldn't advise going ahead and trading after this room closes, but as you could clearly see, we got some nice trades. I'll go over just a few so that everybody will know. Basically, when the room was opened up, we opened it at 7:55, so it was right in through here. I had a line drawn on the chart. There was a good trade right there. Okay, this was a good trade right here that some of our people took. This was another one right here that people took, and this was another one right here. So just those four alone with two contracts, and even with this being nothing but sideways since even before we opened, see the low right here? They haven't even taken that low out, and they haven't taken the top out by much. So, it's pretty sideways, but still had some great trades for everyone. All right, and then just so the video will show it, ES, this trade was called right here with the trend line at the time, and a lot of our people took that and got a real nice trade, and then they also probably drew a trend line like so to get out of the trade too. And I did call it out there for people that used a tighter stop. If you used a looser stop, you wanted to use that swing right there. So nicely green, we'll probably turn it off here in 5 minutes. Let's see, gotcha. Nice to know you call out the trade so I can only ask questions here after the trial if I sign up as a member. Absolutely. Carlos, on your question, and that's good too. Carlos was saying good and nice to know that you actually call the trades too. See, and that's the whole thing. If you want to make money trading, again, if I was to put up a dome and just put on trades, it wouldn't teach anybody anything. But by taking the time to draw on charts and show people where to get in and calling the trade, if, hey, at the open, if it takes out this trend line, I'd go for it. I mean, is that an exact trade call? No, but it's using our tools, and it's like if it breaks that trend line, we're going to take a short trade. And that's exactly what we did. All right. 4 more minutes and we'll close. I will go ahead and get that trend line, true trend, up on the template site so y'all can get it. Just be sure and put it under Documents, NinjaTrader 7, Templates/chart. And I think everybody would probably also notice that I was actually 100% on my trade calls. And that's not bragging. That's letting everybody know that we do know what we're doing, how to get in these trades. Oh, absolutely. Hardy says the room calls are to anticipate trades. If you see it the same way I do, then pull the trigger. Because if a person doesn't pull the trigger, you can't, down that deer at all, can you? I'm not a hunter, by the way, but, you got to take your prey out with pulling the trigger. And we're trading every single day to make money in these markets. And if a person learns to draw on their charts and everything, they should be able to get nicely green and turn off the machine. My dog is crazy. When my wife leaves, the first thing she wants is a treat. I guess I've spoiled her. I'll go ahead and post this on the webinar link, Carlos, so you can see it today. If you were a little late this morning, that's no problem. Well, does time fly when you're having fun? I mean, if everybody wants to stick around, I don't have anything to do, but, this could be nothing but boring as everything. Sure doesn't look like it's doing anything. There is no webinar tonight. I went ahead and did this room today to do the webinar itself. And I think it worked out really nice because, at least the market did move enough to call a few trades. Anybody have any questions? A lot of our people are leaving. It's pretty slow and pretty boring. Let's see, watching the recording of Trading Morning will help. Maybe y'all could do another sometime, Steve. I don't mind doing we don't want to do just tons and tons of them simply because they take up so much space. This is going to be about a 350 meg on our website. What's probably going to happen is more than likely the moment I close the room, it's going to take off. But keep in mind, you need to be totally flat in the next 2 hours to begin with because the market does close at noon Central. All right. Well, it turned out to be a pretty good trading morning because 100% on trade calls. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap. This is too slow. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll do it again tomorrow. And it's going to move tomorrow, obviously, because there will be some volume. But we did get some nice trades. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow. And if it runs after we close the room, you can trade it if you want to. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good one.